Hi guys, it's Shayla again from Freckle Finance, and today is going to be my pregnancy update. Now this video is going to go up when I am 14 weeks and 1 day pregnant. I am currently 13 weeks and 4 days pregnant, and my baby is the size of a jalapeno pepper. And so I just thought, since I haven't really covered any of the stuff on pregnancy, I'd kind of go from finding out I was pregnant to current. So I was trying to get pregnant, and I was very fortunate that I got pregnant on our second month of trying. Now, I had a hard time believing I was actually pregnant, so the pregnancy test came up the faintest pink line, and I kind of had to ask my husband, do you see a line? And at first he didn't, then he did, and then we're like, is our brains playing tricks on us? I don't know. So it took me about 3 days of like positive pregnancy tests that were getting slightly darker to finally believe I was pregnant. And then I got worried that the tests weren't getting dark fast enough, and that maybe this was going to be a chemical pregnancy and it wasn't going to stay, but it did. So I am very fortunate and all of that stuff. However, it hasn't been a smooth sailing pregnancy. I had pretty bad nausea. I had difficulty eating a lot of food. I had difficulty repeating food, and I later discovered that a lot of problems was coming from eating tomatoes, which was a real surprise to me. There were some days I just didn't get out of bed too much because standing up made it so much worse. I still went to my volunteering or anything that I, have to do, but other than that, I would stay in bed a lot and I would just do the basic cleaning of the house. So I am so relieved that around 11 to 12 weeks that kind of died down a lot and I have been able to function better. However, I still have stomach problems. I don't really know what to describe it as. If it's been too long since I've eaten, I get a stomach ache of some sort. It's like a stomach ache I've never really had before, so I don't really know how to describe it. And then when I eat, I get a different type of stomach ache until it kind of dies down and goes back into the I'm hungry stomach ache. So I don't feel like hunger and I don't really feel full necessarily. I just get these like different forms of stomach aches. Some nights it can be really bad and I have trouble sleeping because of it. That's usually when I haven't been able to go in a few days though, so that one I can usually tell what it is. So I'm still working on it. I have definitely reintroduced fruits and vegetables and much more healthy food into my diet. I am still not eating as healthy as I was prior to pregnancy, which I have to say I'm feeling fairly guilty about. But it's also important that I'm getting enough calories, and food also just tastes different to me now. I have a weird taste in my mouth. Often it's a metally taste, but it's not always, and it just gives this like weird aftertaste to all the food that I'm eating. So I'm like enjoying the taste of food, and then like a minute after I'm done food, I'm like, ugh, am I sure that food tasted good? So, but that was not the roughest part. The roughest part is I had something called a subchorionic hemorrhage. That's the terms that the doctors use, which is not that exciting when they tell you. But essentially, I think I was around 7 weeks pregnant, and the night beforehand I was like spotting, and I'm sorry, this is going to be a little TMI, but that's just the way it is with when you bleed during pregnancy. So I was spotting a bit, and I didn't get like too concerned about it because I'm like, okay, spotting, that's like, it happens in pregnancy. The next day I got up and went to the bathroom, and there was just like, it just like kind of came on quickly. It wasn't like an excessive amount or anything like that, but it was like a lot more than I would normally have during a period in the amount of time. And it freaked me out. My husband was on the phone with his parents at the time, and he asked them, and his mom's reaction was like, that's not good. And my heart just like dropped. It's still difficult obviously to talk about. I'm tearing up a bit, but I was like, that's not good. Like, that's not what I want to hear. That's not what I want to hear. But obviously she was just saying it so that we went to get it checked out. So I tried to go to an urgent care clinic because that's cheaper to go to than a hospital, but they referred me to the hospital anyways. And I was honestly really surprised by how quickly that all was. And if anyone's interested in a video on my experience with Canadian versus American hospitals, there were very stark differences, at least from this one experience I had in the US. And I've never had that experience in Canada. So let me know in the comments down below, and I will be more than happy to do a video on that experience, but that is quite a long video. So basically they do blood work, they do an ultrasound, and they come back and they tell me, like, you know, it's still there because there was a lot of tissue in it, and I know that at the time the baby was fairly small, and so I was worried that like I had miscarried it. Actually, I will say that I was 100%, I was 95% convinced that I had either miscarried or that I was miscarrying, and being told to go to the hospital, I was like bawling my eyes out. My husband almost hit a car because we were like freaking out, and he couldn't drive properly, like just the, oh my God. And so we were like, whatever, we'll pay more money, because we either get to, like, I will pay more money if I get to find out that like everything's fine. So they tell me that I have a subchorionic hemorrhage and that they were just going to do some further blood work. I guess something about my blood type they had to get checked out, and I don't know why that had to do with then or not. But I didn't know my blood type, so they had to do it, and I had to wait an hour. And during that time I was like looking up all this stuff, because if someone tells you that you have a hemorrhage, that's a pretty terrifying thing. And so the doctor comes back, and like I ask all these questions from what I found online. I asked him, like, is it big or is it small, because that changes things. Like, do I have any restrictions? And yes, I was put on a pelvic rest, and I went a little further because I was scared, and I didn't treat myself as like full bed rest, but I took it very, very easy until it all died down, because this is my first pregnancy and I just was really, really scared. And the worst part is the thought going through my head is that I got pregnant so easily and my life has been going too well that like maybe I'm being handed a miscarriage. That was like such a stupid thought, but I just felt like, oh, I'm due for something bad to happen. But luckily the baby was okay, and we knew that it was okay because my husband was looking at like the emergency ultrasound. He was actually watching it, and he said he saw that there was a heartbeat and stuff. You couldn't see the baby moving around because it was too small at the time, and that was the first ultrasound he got to see, so it's kind of a strange experience for him to be able to see that as his first ultrasound under such weird circumstances. And the worst part about all this is that I mean, the doctor warned me when you get the paperwork, he's like, it's going to be labeled as a threatened miscarriage. And he's like, don't freak out, that's just the medical term for it. And I was like, a threatened miscarriage? That's not what you want to hear. The bleeding died down. It pretty much died down that day and kind of just trickled out and went to spotting. About a week and a half later, I spotted very, very minimally again, but I just called my doctor to make sure everything was going to be okay, and she just had me come in the next day for an ultrasound, and everything was okay, and she just said, it's best that you come in for this and not be stressing out the whole weekend, or if it gets worse, because I think I came in on a Friday. She said, or it gets worse and you go to a hospital, like we want to assure you like things are fine. And so it's been a few weeks, or I mean, I'm 13 weeks and 4 days now, so it's been quite a while since that happened. So, and it's completely been stopped, and it's not something that's like on my mind about happening anymore. But it was such a scary moment. Like I said, I thought somehow like I deserved this to happen. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense, but you don't necessarily think logically in those times. As for food cravings, which everyone loves to know about, Taco Bell's gotta be the worst food craving I have, and I have been somewhat giving into it. I always loved Taco Bell. I actually worked at Taco Bell for a year and a half when I was a teenager, so you don't need to tell me about Taco Bell. I know, I worked there. Unfortunately, they don't have one of my favorite items in Canada, which is a fry supreme, which is basically the same thing as a nacho supreme, but it doesn't come with the beans on. Actually, in Canada, the nacho supreme doesn't come with beans either. But, so I've been eating that and also eating vegetables and fruit when I can. I ended up buying smoothies, which I know are not necessarily the healthiest things for you, but these aren't sugar added smoothies. But there's been like controversy in the news literally about the brand that I bought. But I feel like getting some of that nutrient is better than nothing, since I've, been struggling to eat enough vegetables. I'm definitely taking my prenatal vitamins and all of that stuff. So I'm currently at the stage in pregnancy where I could start showing. I don't feel like I'm showing yet. As I describe it is, I just feel and look a little fatter, but nothing that like would be able to see with my clothes on. Like nobody else notices. I've gained about 4 to 5 pounds. I can't really tell what my weight is because it fluctuates way more than I'm used to within a day, just depending on how things have been going, kind of, you know. I haven't gained that much weight, but there has been, yeah, definitely my stomach protrudes further than it used to, but it definitely is not a distinct baby bump yet. And I also found out that at 13 weeks, some people start feeling the baby move, where they can tell the baby's moving. I don't. I really wish that I could. That would be awesome, but at this point, I do not feel anything, and it's kind of weird just being like, whenever you go to an ultrasound, and like, we did my 12-week ultrasound, and the baby's moving around, it's kicking, it's like clapping its hand, trying to suck its thumb type of thing. I mean, it wasn't actually sucking its thumb, but it was moving around a lot. And actually, the lady said my baby was very active and very cooperative, and I'm just like, are you sure? In here? Are you sure? Because I can't feel anything. Obviously, it's normal to not feel anything, but you're like, how do I have something that's like the size of a jalapeno inside my uterus, but I can't feel it? It's very strange. Probably something that most first-time pregnant women experience, and it's just such a crazy thing. Like, I can't wait to start actually feeling like there's a baby in there instead of just not feeling great all the time. I mean, I obviously know that there's a baby in there. So one thing I haven't covered is we are going to be finding out the sex of the baby. I think I'm going to be getting an ultrasound at 19 weeks, and we're going to hopefully be able to find out then. Apparently my baby's very cooperative, so hopefully it will still be cooperative then. So as well, I got my results back for what they test for in the 12-week scan, which is Down syndrome and trisomy 18, and my risks was basically the baby very, very unlikely has it. So that was good news. As for on the emotional side, I cried so much easier. And I would have cried, you know, I would have gotten teary-eyed about what I thought was a miscarriage, whether I was pregnant or not, but I'm watching TV or something, and something that would move me, just like, I feel like 20 times more moved by something, and I'm like, I want to take action, I want to help this person. Or you just, especially things about kids, oh my gosh, I thought I already, you know, had such compassion and like wanting to help, you know, these things you see about something bad happening to a kid, and now it's so much stronger, which obviously is how we are designed to be, so it makes sense. And a cool thing that I've started doing, and I don't really see people talking about this in pregnancy updates, but you know, during the first part of the pregnancy, I didn't really think much about like what I'm going to do with my kid or how things are going to be, because I didn't want to get attached to it, so to speak, because you know, I already thought that I had already been convinced I was having a miscarriage when I wasn't, and I didn't want to get too attached to the baby. And lately I've been thinking of some really cool traditions we have, and I've been talking to my husband, and some of our traditions completely conflict with the others' traditions, so that's obviously stuff that we're gonna have to figure out. But I'm just like for example, I was thinking about Christmas time, you know, the biggest time, at least in my family, for traditions, and we had these stockings as a kid, and I will insert a link if it's still available of the stocking, because I did find it on eBay for $25, but I only found one. And I was like, I want my whole family to have stockings like that, because I loved those stockings as a kid. They were so awesome. I don't know anyone else who had stockings like it. It was basically a teddy bear, and the front and the back of its overalls got stuffed with things. I thought it was so cool, and I was just getting like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to like pass on traditions to my kids. Now when I'm cooking, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to be cooking this for my kid. And I've always thought it, but now like it's a reality, so it's so much cooler, and that gets you way more excited about things. Or we'll be going somewhere and I'm like, wow, I can't wait to just experience that with my kid. Or you'll see a kid doing something so cute and you're like, I can't wait to have a kid who like, you know, is a toddler and they're just waddling along because they can't walk fully yet, and it's the cutest thing. So definitely looking forward to that stuff. So I'm just gonna give you a belly shot, but like I said, I'm not really showing yet. This is honestly not even the best shirt to show you. I do have a bit of a pudge, which this is, I guess these pants are hiding really well, but you can't really see it on this. But yeah, I do normally have a pudge, and my pudge is still there, it did not go away. Oh, another thing, I've basically already switched over to maternity pants, and it's really awkward because I keep trying to hide the fact that I'm wearing maternity pants because my shirts keep kind of showing the part where it's like elastic on it. But because I'm you know, just having such stomach problems, I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I went to Savers. I think I paid $5 for them. They are awesome. They are so much more comfortable than other pants, and I'm just not gonna deal with having extra stomach problems because my pants are a little tight. So I almost forgot to mention one of the things that I wasn't worried about. It was kind of just something I like needed to confirm, and that is that twins are very common in my family. My dad is an identical twin, and my mom's mom is a fraternal twin. And I know that there is a link definitely maternally with fraternal twins in a family. So basically my whole life I've been told that you have a high chance of having twins, and now my husband's like, I don't know, I don't want a bunch of kids, so if you get pregnant again, maybe you're gonna have twins. So I went to the doctor, I explained it to her, like bam, 2 minutes later, no, don't have twins. I gotta say a little disappointed just because my whole life I'm like guaranteed to have twins, which is not really what anyone said to me, but when so many people are like, wow, like you're probably gonna have twins, you come to expect that to be what's gonna happen. So there's only one baby in there, which is, I mean, that's a lower risk pregnancy. I would have had absolutely no issues with having twins, fraternal or identical. I've always loved the idea of twins. I was fascinated that my dad was a twin. I was fascinated that my grandma was a twin. I used to read up books on twins all the time, twin studies, everything to do with twins. Always loved it. Would have been cool. A little jealous that Christy from the former Mrs. Jones is pregnant with twins. I was like, no, you took my twins. Well, she didn't take my twins, obviously. And as for what gender I feel the baby is, I feel it's a boy. Maybe I will do some of those fun like gender prediction things on whether it's a boy or a girl type of thing, because those are kind of fun to watch and not very accurate because they usually don't all say the same thing. But my husband feels like it's probably a girl. Me, my dad, and my mother-in-law are the only ones who think it's going to be a boy. As far as like I've asked, everyone else seems to think it's a girl or just has no opinion either way. My dad's like dead set on this being a boy. He refers to it as a boy. He will refer to the baby as his grandson. So he's pretty convinced, and he's like, yeah, in our family, like everyone has a boy first, so yours is obviously a boy first. I've tried to explain that logic is not valid, but so be it. If it's a girl, it's a girl. It's a boy, it's a boy. I don't really care. Both of them have really cute clothing, really cute items. They both have definite things I would look forward to, so I don't care. I just feel like it's a boy, even though I've always in my head wanted a girl first. So to me, I'm like, if I feel like it's a boy, it's probably a boy. Like, why am I suddenly thinking differently now that I'm pregnant? It is a little fun tidbit. I feel like a lot of people give their babies a little nickname, especially when they don't have the gender yet and can't figure out or can't give it a name unless they literally have a gender neutral name in mind only. And so we call it Peanut. I don't know why I decided that. My husband was resistant to it, and now he can't think of another cuter name to work. And we've got our parents on board calling the baby Peanut. So I think it's a boy. He or she is a little peanut, even though it's now the size of a jalapeno. Boy, babies grow so fast. If you're new to this channel, make sure you click that subscribe button below. I upload videos on personal finance, financial independence, and lifestyle videos related to financial independence and pregnancy. And as always, remember that no matter what your financial situation is, have a great day. Bye.